welcome to the Marshaverse. This is a place in the rest of the universe where I come to make make sense.
From the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, it's midnight in the Marshaverse, starring Marsha Warfield and her two sons, Stephen Roberts and Skillz Hudson, as the problem child.
Well, good morning. Welcome to midnight in the Marshaverse, or as I like to call it, the Marsha Warfield Show. Anyway, it's midnight. It's that magic time, that witching hour between yesterday and tomorrow. That is the today that opens the portal to the spirit world and blesses us all and gives us an opportunity to commune with our higher selves. And we get to fuck around with our friends and have a good time. And so we thank you for showing up and staying up with us and taking the time to chill. It's that time of night where you should be able to just finally take a deep breath. I like to get together with my friends and and family and just have a nice, relaxing, chill time of day because they're like me. They don't like daytime either. And they don't like happy day people who wake up, good morning. You think get on your nerves. You need the evening kind of people where people just, look at you and go like that and everything's cool. So anyway, it's cool. We're going to start like we used to, or like we usually do, with our refreshments, because what kind of get together are you having if you don't have any refreshments? On this show, I can't provide them for you, but I can share what I'm having. As usual, I'm going to have a little cannabis and cognac. It's a nice combination for the end of the day to just bring yourself down and not too much, and only with it where it's legal and you are of age to participate. We don't want no young kids, talking about Marsha said that I could. No, Marsha ain't said no such shit. You should be in bed. I'm talking to grown folks and extra grown folks and people like me who just way past grown. So anyway, tonight, we're going to have our old faithful Remy. I couldn't decide which brand I wanted to do tonight. And I always say, when in doubt, pull a Remy out. That's a lie. I've never said that before in my life, but it rhymed and it works. Okay, that's just a little whistle wettener. Whistle wettener? I can make up words if I want to. And this week we have a regular snifter. Ooh, no more cups, no more, tumblers or cognac. We have a nice snifter. Get see our cognac color and a nice balloon to warm the cognac so you can get the bouquet and then you slurp it. And to go along with that, we're going to pull out our trusty Zenko. And so you know how this works. Those of you who have seen it before, we hold it like this. This is the cutest thing. Turn it on. And then, ooh. Yeah, that's a lot. I ain't going to do all that. Yes, I did. Okay, I don't know how the rest of this show gonna go, but it's nice to meet you. So this is the part of the show where I get to rant and talk about shit that's on my mind. If you follow me for any length of time on any of my social media platforms, you know I am anti-corporal punishment person. I don't believe in hitting children. And I was thinking about it. We say, when we're talking about hurting other people, getting into it with other people, we talk about how we're going to beat them up, right? But nobody ever says that when they're talking about their children. But that's what you're getting ready to do. You get ready to beat them up, and you don't say whipping, which is what you do with a belt. You use as a whip. You say whooping so it don't sound as bad. Because if you said, "All right, my kid is not going to school regularly. I'm getting ready to beat him up," nobody would let you do that. So you say you're just going to tear that ass up, or you just something else that you think sounds parental, but it's not. Stop hitting them children. Why are you beating up little people? They can't fight back. And whatever they did, it wasn't because they just was trying to piss you off, unless you've been pissing them off for who knows how long. A lot of times, most of the time, they didn't know. And they're people. You can talk to them. Stop beating up these children. And that's my comediosophy for today. You should not beat up little people for making mistakes. That's just turns them into uh, criminals, people who do things and hide them because they don't want to pay the consequences. They don't understand the whole don't hurt people and everything will be okay. They don't, you haven't intellectualized that. All you do is beat them up and call it something else. The result is the same. So don't beat up your children. Also, I wanted to, when we get into our theology phase, because if you don't know, I founded my own religion, the Church of Jesus. I believe we should worship women. Women are our creators, our life givers. So since I have my own world that I have created, I have decided, and we have our own church, the Church of Jesus. I've decided that I want to acknowledge some of our great women in history. A few weeks ago, I talked about Ida Overton Walker, who is the first Black comedian I know of. If anybody knows anybody before her, where and how she worked, please let me know. Just leave us a comment and some way to find her, to research her, because I want to know who our great predecessors were. Ida, and I'm not sure if it's Ida or Ada, uh, was part of Williams and Walker, Burke Williams and George Walker, the comedy team during minstrelsy and vaudeville. And she was the third, and she barely gets credit. She's rarely mentioned in that trio, but she was very accomplished in her life. Unfortunately, I think they all died young. I know she and her husband did. Not together, not the same causes. They just both died young. But in that time, they packed a lot of history and they did a lot of noteworthy things that are well worth your time to look up and study. But this week, we want to go back a little further in history and talk about a queen who was a king long before the woman king, long before most of the queens that you've heard of. There was a woman who dared to be a pharaoh. She said, "I'm pharaoh, I'm not queen." And she built temples, pyramids, had a thriving economy. They say she led a period of great wealth and peace. But then I think after she passed, nobody really knows how she died. But after she died, her, was it, it wasn't her stepbrother, so her half brother, decided that to erase her history. He erased everything. He took her name off all kinds of things, and the city that she founded, I think that it was undiscovered for a long, long time until the 19th century. And her name, I don't know how to pronounce it correct. Please correct me if I say it wrong. It's Hatshepsut. Is it Hatshepsut? Anyway, she ruled in Egypt for quite a long time, and she's rarely mentioned. There is speculation that she was a lesbian simply because we don't know of other pharaoh queens. And so for her to don male regalia and to declare herself king, pharaoh, raises questions. But these are modern questions that earlier people didn't really consider. So nobody really knows. She supposedly had a consort who helped her with her duties, but we don't know really much about her because they made a great effort to wipe her memory out of the record. So, I'm not a scholar and I'm not a teacher and I'm not all of that. But when I raise these kinds of things, it's if you've not heard of her or don't know what I'm talking about or think I'm lying, I encourage you to go look it up, find out for yourself. And then if you have information to share, again, share it with me. Tell me, say, this is what I found. It goes against what you said, or it goes along with what you said. However, I think these kinds of conversations are helpful for us to have, not just academically, but colloquially between friends. Just let's just talk about these things and get some understanding and feeling about them. So this week, your assignment, I'm sure they're going to put the spelling of her name up somewhere, is to look up Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. You'll get it. Anyway, look her up and see what she's about and think of whatever questions you have, because another question that I have is for her to be in the 1400 BC or something makes me wonder what made her think that she had the right to call herself Pharaoh. Is there precedent? Were there other women who actually were erased? Hers was erased for years, uh, but they found it and restored all of this information. So, are there others older, uh, later? I think it's worth finding that out. And another thing I want to stress is most of the information we have was gathered by Europeans and disseminated by them. So they have a European perspective when they gather information. And you might think, well, that's prejudice or that's what it's none of that. You bring your experience to everything you do. And so when you have to interpret what this cup means, you're going to think about it in terms that you understand. Whereas someone else, maybe just a woman, it would have a different interpretation because a cup represents more to her than it does to you. And so, with that in mind, I think it's incumbent upon us to encourage our young people to pursue these kinds of disciplines, archaeology and anthropology and all these fields of study where you try to interpret the evidence and give a whole different perspective to what's been collected. And so, because some people are not going to think to ask the questions, you will, and other people will think to ask those questions and deem them important or not important. And so it's not a matter always, even though there are many instances of deliberately altering information to make it palatable to the person collecting it and disseminating it. They have to be okay with what they're seeing. Um, and so I encourage us to start uh, opening up the possibility that some of our young people, because all of them ain't going to want to do it, and a lot of people are going to have religious and moral objection, to digging up dead people. And those things are valid. Uh, but there are also others who will take to the work and bring something to it that I think is important for us to start considering. So, as subject, let's move on. Are we ready to go to the next phase? Take it to the next phase and introduce my guest. We had to make this show up. I don't mean make it up like just, make it up. We did make it up. Everything is made up by somebody at some time. That's not what I'm talking about. We were supposed to do the show the other night, but it got rescheduled. So tonight, um, we're bringing her out, and it's the second time that she's been here. She's our our second return guest. Yay! She's a fascinating woman, and most people know her, have her in a box. They hear her name, they hear who she is, and so boom, they know her. But she's far more than that. Whatever it is you imagine, she is a whole person with a whole life that I think is fascinating, and I want to get into that with her, and I would like for you to share in this conversation because it's whether it reflects you and your life or not, it could be helpful in some other way. Anyway, since you're up, since we're here, since she's here, please welcome my friend, and I am proud to call her my friend, Rain Pryor.
Hello.
Hi, honey. Thank you so much for staying up. You got enough coffee?
I do,
Okay.
and my cup because it says I wish I was a unicorn so I could stab some dumb cunts with my head. So
Okay.
it's a good morning.
All right. Well, mine just says Marsha Warfield because
Guys, that's
my wife didn't write that much on it. But
I
anyway,
love that.
thank you for
Thank you for
being here.
having me.
You and I met, you were a tiny person.
Yes,
And you were with your dad. And were you with your mom or?
probably yes, because she was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were very young. And so was I. But I was old enough to be your auntie. Anyway, everybody knows your dad is Richard Pryor.
Yes, ma'am.
And everybody knows those are big shoes to fill. Those are big shoes for anybody to fill. But chose you've chosen your own path. You
Yeah.
did do television.
Yes.
And how did you get it? Did you study? Did you decide to go to
I
classes first?
I was just in high school and someone said, "Oh, they're doing auditions for this show called Head of the Class. You should go." And I was like, "Okay."
So being Richard Pryor's kid does have perks.
I guess so, you know.
So you
Um,
went and auditioned and
I went and auditioned, got a call back. They said, "Can you come in with a teenager?" Because I did all these characters as my monologue. And they said, "Well, can you come back tomorrow and bring like a teenage type character?" So I wrote one that had a rap in it. And I did that. And they said, "Well, we want to use that on our show." Oh, with you too. So,
okay. So there you have it.
yeah.
But you hadn't taken classes or
No.
dance or
I
nothing.
took dance. I took a lot of dance classes and a lot of not acting classes except for in high school, and that was it. But
Okay.
I was always a performer, so I think
Did
it
you
kind
ever think about stand up?
I did when I was in my 40s.
Well, yeah, I knew that answer, but
But not at
that's
not at that age. No, because everyone who did it, they were always older people in my eyes, and my dad was my dad, and there you, Robin, all the greats, Kinnison, those were like the people I looked at. So I was like, only those people do comedy.
oh well.
You know?
No, but you after head of the class,
Yes, ma'am.
what'd you do?
After head of the class, I went off to do a musical play. I did the Who's Tommy off Broadway. And then I did Sisterella. I did all these like little plays and then was like, oh, I think I want to get back into acting again, like, television type of thing. And then I did some shows with my dad. I did some medical show. I forget what it was on CBS with my dad, which was great and fun. And then, yeah,
But now he talked about you sometimes on stage or in his act.
yes.
What was that like to be part of the act?
You
Was it with
know,
or without your permission?
I didn't know you could have permission for that. So I just thought, oh, he's telling he tells our stories. And I think, but for me, I would always correct him and be like, no, that's not how it happened. You see, Dad,
Yeah. Well, that's how kids do you.
that was so and so, that was Elizabeth, or that was Richard, not me, and then when it was me, I was like, he got it right, so,
Well, what was it like
whew,
growing up? Just
you know,
you growing up.
It was I remember this amazing, crazy childhood in my life, just for me. It just in my life. I mean, my mom wanted to be a dancer on Shindig and did all that, and, wasn't as cute as Goldie Hawn or something. I have pictures of her in black and white clothes. She was always into, like, bringing the people together. And then, and then there's dad, who was larger than life, amazing, but he was a dad. Like, that's, I think, what people don't understand is even at the Comedy Store, he was still a dad.
Okay.
So living this pretty normal life, I had to have a job at 13, like I worked in Malibu on the beach.
Oh, well, yeah, some of us have jobs at 13, and some of us have jobs at 13.
Right.
I was at 15, I was ringing up groceries in a grocery store in the projects.
Right. I'm serving hot dogs on the beach.
So, um, but what did you think you were going to do with your life?
I thought I was gonna be a superstar. Yeah.
Well, join the
I
club.
mean, I really thought, yeah, I was like, "I'm gonna be a superstar." And then, now I'm a director, so I do that kind of stuff. I still dream sometimes like, "Oh, I just need that
I'm
one
ready for
role."
my close-up
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
We still have them at 70,
Yeah,
71.
yeah.
It doesn't go away.
And it
But
doesn't
you
and you never get too old. That's the beauty of it, right? Like, can still do what we do because we love to.
well, from your mouth. But you also have a whole nother life thing
I do.
that you see my little makeshift
I do.
altar here,
I love
and
it.
you have a lot of religion, but you have also been initiated. I don't know the correct
Yes.
term,
Yes, that's correct.
but into
So I've been
what?
initiated into the priestess of Oshun priesthood in Ifa. There's Ifa, you have similarities of Ifa in Candomblé, in Voodoo, in Ocha. Like, there's different things because of the transatlantic slave trade and belief, but it's a ancient African tradition steeped in Nigeria and the Yoruba tradition. Also, you can find some of Ifa in Benin and a lot of the West African. Yep.
How'd that come about? And then once you
Woo, child.
decided, I mean, what, do you just wake up one day and say, "I'm gonna join this church"?
Not at all. And one thing I love about EFAM, which was why I'm a part of it, no one ever came to me and said you need to be a part of it. And I never heard anyone proselytize. So what's interesting is Mama Marie, Dad's grandmother, was into hoodoo. Growing up, so we always had like the bones in the house, or the this or the that, or I got eyes in the back of my head. So it was part of growing up, that kind of spirituality. And my grandmother on my mom's side, who's Jewish, was into Kabbalah type of stuff every once in a while, but not too much, chicken soup for the soul type of stuff. So having that kind of mysticism, spirituality was always a part of my life and growing up. When I found Ifa was after dad had died in a classroom, an art and culture class at Baltimore Community College. And this woman walked in, and I talk about it even in my solo show. This woman walked in and she had a scarf on and this blue flowy dress. And she just started talking about Ifa and the crossroads in spirituality and in art. And for some reason, I just started to bawl my eyes out, and it's like if I heard my dad be like, "This is your home. This is for you," and that was it. So I started to talk to her, and mind you, the first people I met involved in IFA were all pretty much phonies,
Yeah,
because everyone in the States who goes to Africa or knows someone in Africa then thinks they're a spiritual Babalawo, Iyan Ifa, like that type of thing.
yeah.
But I actually went to Nigeria.
I know, I know. But that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. How do you do that? Now, see, because I looked into all of just looking into history of where I'm from and that
Yes.
whole thing, and looked into different influences, where they went, how they what you know, uh,
Yes.
and that understanding that there is more West African influence in Black American communities than is ever acknowledged. or they're even aware of. Well, we're not always aware
Yes,
of the things that we do that are direct
absolutely.
connections to our ancestral
Yeah,
spirit.
praise
Uh,
dancing. Yep.
so I took all of that stuff, plus my growing up in the Baptist church and the Catholic church,
Yes.
uh, pretty much equally. The Black Catholic Church and the
Shit.
Black Baptist Church, because there's a difference.
Yes.
I put all that together and said, I haven't found a religion that makes sense to me.
Right.
So I'm going to make one up. I'm going to make up my own, and going to, and I talk about how when I tried to get in touch with my ancestral spirits, and I was, "Lo, come to me," and so on, and they said, "Who the fuck you talking to? Who do you think we are?" And it's like, "Oh, okay." It was a whole different relation. How
It
do
is.
you get from whatever,
Rain to Oshun.
Jewish, yeah,
Well, it's
Judaism
funny,
and
Judaism spoke to me in terms of culture because of holiday. So that's mainly my contact with Judaism. I never went to temple because at the time there were no kids that looked like me that went to temple, so it wasn't like a thing I would do. I always associated Judaism with something that was white and European. And it wasn't until I also then went to Israel and saw, oh, there's people who look like me there. I didn't know. um, which I found really interesting. I was like, if only we knew some of that here. But with Ifa and with Nigeria, it just spoke to me. I just felt like I'm a home. There's something to be. I tell everyone you should at least go to Africa and have that experience, whether it's Ghana, whether it's Uganda, because I know people in Uganda too, or Nigeria, just to feel what it's like to be Black and not do that. Like there's something
oh,
really amazing about that. Even as a light-skinned person, I didn't feel othered, I didn't feel weird, I felt at home, and Ifa to me is a spiritual practice more than it's a religion. Like, there's every lineage has their pretty much like their way of practicing. Ifa is always Ifa, but they have their way of how they're taught about it, and for me, I was before I was initiated into Ifa, which is coming up next, is a initiation I really, really want to do and should do and have to do. I was, you get divined for by a Babalao, and it was told that I was should be Oshun, so that was the path that I took, and it literally changed my life. I can't tell you it didn't change my life like all of a sudden the purse strings open up and I'm dripping in money,
yeah.
but it allowed me to know who Rain is, allowed me to be a better mother, a better wife, a better friend, a better keeper of secrets. And I don't mean bad secrets, I just mean universal type secrets that kept me here. And I found grounding, and I don't have to tell people about it. Like I'll walk around, I have my like gay beads on, I have things that I do ritualistically, but my husband's not I don't ask him to be. I don't we don't go to church. He's not a church person either. So this is my thing. And if he wants to know about it, I tell him. Same thing with Lotus, my daughter, same thing. But she knows like our thing between us is like, oh mom, I'm telling you the truth. I swear, ask Oya, ask Shango, ask, like she knows. Like if she says that, then I know, okay. Because she's seen, don't F around with the ancestors. Don't do it.
Yeah, well, how would you feel if she was drawn to it?
I'd be okay. I mean, no better person to show her what's going on in the families that I know, especially in Nigeria, to steward her the right way. I
Yeah.
don't really trust a lot of the Americans here, Babalao, but there are some good ones in Los Angeles. There's a very highly respected, very good Babalao there who is also taught from someone that I know in Nigeria. So
I have a couple of questions.
yeah.
One, do you know Tokai Kalikoa?
I
He
know
used
the
to be
name.
named Maurice Davis.
I know the name. That sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
he was on our show recently, and he was on A Different World as Brandel around the same time. So I don't know if I didn't know if you were aware of him.
No.
But to take it where I want to go right now,
Yes.
we're in a period that I consider the war of the spirit for the soul of this country and of the world. Right now we're in that crisis, and it's
Yes.
not over. It's not over, but it's under attack. Goodness is
Yes.
under attack.
Truth is under attack.
And truth, when you I said this earlier tonight, when you politicize truth, nothing is true
Yeah.
because politics by nature is mythology. It's a
Right.
lie. It's
Right.
just there is no truth. So nobody really knows what true is right now. And I watched. There's a historian I watch on social media named Tad Sturmer, and he's a resistant historian, a public historian, and he wants to set the record straight about American history.
Mm.
And he's usually very, academic. But I saw one where he was very hurt. He was struggling with this, and he was not really coming at it like that, but you could just see it if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And he said, "We've lost our moral compass. We used to have a pole of some we could hold on to. This is where we draw the line,
Right.
and it used to be the Holocaust,
Yes.
but they've erased that line
Oh,
now."
yeah, you cross it.
And so the Holocaust people are acting like, well, it's not that bad,
Yep.
and so we've lost all. We didn't. Black people never had it. There wasn't no moral compass. There was nothing too low for us. But this that we could all hang on to as truth is under attack. And so everything is
Everything.
under attack.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I think the only way, and I know I'm rattling, but I
Spiritual
think the
warfare.
only way to fight this is to appeal to the spiritual side, the female side, the woman mothering side that says we don't fight like you're out of control.
Yes.
Y'all need to sit down and shut up. And I think I see you doing that online too.
Yes.
And I think I find some movement there. But how do
Yes.
you get people to understand that if you fight this evil with evil, evil wins?
You don't. I
You
think you
can't.
don't. I think you have to be the example. It's almost like people who enter 12-step meetings, right? You can't really preach the 12 steps. You gotta live it, and someone says, "Hey, how did you get your life together?" You know? I think that's how I feel about Ifa and ancestral worship. I just feel like people see your life change, or they see how you present or show up in the world. I'm not gonna stop talking truth to power. I think my dad was one of the greatest babalaos that ever lived, as far as I'm concerned. So, truth to power, period. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I'm going to keep speaking it just like you keep speaking it in everything that you do and the way you show up, Marsha. You are Iani Fa, you are that presence. And that's what we have to keep doing. And somehow we all find each other. And that, I think, becomes the new whatever it is, while the rest of this goes over here. Cause I don't know if it's going to change.
But
I don't live out
it's
there.
painful to watch
Oh God.
people
Yes.
encourage each other
Yeah.
to be their enemy.
Yes.
I don't understand. We need to fight.
Because,
We need to fight. That's all you know. You have to
such
stop
male.
thinking that fight.
That's to me, it's very animalistic male energy. Animals fight and animals want to dominate. And
Yeah, but one of them has to die.
yeah, but
Usually.
yes, I absolutely agree. But if people think from that base, they're not up here in the evolution. Now they're trying to turn that evolution into some kind of mechanical thing they call AI. I know it sounds trippy, and I'm probably going to sound like Terrence Howard, but I'm okay with that. We
Well,
got to bring it down to that
there's
spiritual.
truth in everything.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
what I'm
have to
saying.
find that some had more kernels than others.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out a way, because like I
Yeah.
said, you have a different vision of spirituality than I do. You have
Yeah.
a different, that's just
But
who
yours
you
isn't
are.
wrong, is it? Does that make yours
No,
wrong?
no,
Not at
that's
all.
what I'm saying. How do we get people who are on that same wavelength, but not necessarily the same path, to
They'll
understand
find each
that
other.
we need to start speaking more with, on some
Spirit.
level, with one voice, to appeal to people,
Yes.
to appeal to that higher self.
Part of me thinks we have to make amends to our land. We have to make amends to our land, to the ancestors, to the people we did wrong, and to get it all corrected. It's like if you watch any of the shows, like I love this show called Dark Winds, and it's about native culture. but set in today. And
Right.
he's battling his ancestral path. He's battling some mistakes, and I see, like, he has to make amends for this. He has to find a way to get everything correct again. And I think that's where we're at, is that we have to amend ourselves to ancestors in some way, you
Well,
know.
we have to change the narrative
All right,
because
let's go ahead. Oh,
the narrative
figuratively,
becomes the vision that everybody works from.
and we
But
will.
right now, if you'll stay with us, I want you to meet my two sons again. You met them, you know who they
I love your 2 sons.
are. And do you know how jealous they are? If I tell them you're my comedy daughter, they get. You didn't
Right?
ask us. Who would you?
I know.
Uh,
I know.
I am blown away. Anyway, they are gonna play their videos because they like
Show
to
off.
do their thing. Yes, and I like to show them off. I'm proud of them. So first of all, I want you to say hello again to my oldest son because he gay mansplains stuff. Take it away, Stephen.
Hello, this is Stephen Roberts, and it's time for some gay mansplaining. Yes, I'm in the beautiful theater of Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, and it just brings to mind something that I think everybody should know about, and that is how to behave in a comedy club. Now, it's very important that you remember that you're not the only person in the room, and that other people are trying to hear the show. And the comic is trying to concentrate and get themselves out of bombing. So it's very important that you be quiet, laugh when appropriate, and things like that. 90% of all fights that happen in a showroom in Las Vegas are started by someone who asks somebody else to stop talking. Nothing hurts an ego than somebody asking you to be quiet, apparently. And by the way, of those 90% of people who start the fights, 90% of those people got free tickets. So if you're one of the lucky people who got free tickets to the show, you need to know your place, which is your seat with your hands folded and a pleasant smile and being quiet. And by the way, if you paid for your tickets, why the hell would you make a disturbance in the first place? So, be cool. Do all the things your mama told you to when you went out without her. Behave like an adult. Well, actually, don't behave like an adult. Behave like an obedient kindergartner. That's what we really want. And that's all for today. We'll see you next time.
Well, I guess they won't be heckling in my shows no more. Anyway, say hello to my oldest son, the one who looks just like Stephen Roberts.
Hello. And
Hi.
by the way, Rain is
Oh, okay.
Comedy Sister.
Oh, okay.
She is. She's already Comedy Sister. She's approved by Skillz and I.
I'm glad you gave her the blessing. We make the
Long,
sign of
long
the S
ago.
and let the church say woman.
Woman.
Say woman.
Woman.
Anyway, I know you have something you want to get into this conversation,
Of course.
but we're going to ask you to hold on while we say hello to your brother in the streets. My baby, my problem child. Skillz, we're going to see a little bit of his adventures.
What up, famo? What up, famo? What up, famo? Disclaimer, if I lick my lips a few times in this video, it's because it's very humid where I'm at right now. I'm here in Clearwater, Florida. Just leaving out of courtside. Just ordered me a grouper. I ain't ate a grouper fish in over 15 years, but I remember how tasty it was, so I just ordered that with mashed potatoes. I'm currently headed over here to the Green Dragon. See that back there, the Green Dragon? No, it's not a dojo. It's got that good, that fire, cannabis. Even got a sign to say if you want to vote, yes on 3. I don't know what that's about, but I'm about to go check that out. Marshaverse.
Okay. Well, say hello to Rain.
Hey,
Hello.
rain down on me. And I will speak for myself. Steven's sitting up here saying he's speaking for both of us. He's not. I'm speaking for myself. You are our comedy sister. And we don't be acting jealous like that. Mom be just coming up with everybody. Yeah, hey, I got y'all another. I got you another brother,
Right.
another sister. Wait a
You know
minute.
Leanne Lord. Rain, do you know Leanne Lord?
I do.
That's their sister. That's your sister.
Yes.
But look, but look, I'm saying, and
I
I
ain't never
accept
brought
her
you
also.
nobody like Ned the Wino and said that's your brother.
Now,
You remember
Leanne.
saying
Yes.
finesse too?
Why not finesse?
There's too many
Because
kids in the house.
There
yes,
is
it's
enough comedy to go
That's what I tried to
around.
tell my dad and left him condoms on the bed.
Did you really do that?
I did.
Did it work?
No.
How
One
many
more
brothers
time.
and sisters do you have, Rain?
Altogether, well, with me, there's 6 of us. 3 boys, 3
Okay.
girls. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not too bad. That's kind of Mormon.
It is, but you got to count all the moms, and that adds up because not all of them had kids.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Well, that's pre-Nick Cannon. Anyway, anyway, sons, you've heard this
Yes.
discussion. Skills, do you have anything to contribute or request?
well, I was just learning because I did not know of, and I'm gonna say the word wrong, but Babylon.
Babalao.
Babalao.
Yeah, Babylon, and just learning from the ancestral part. Even though I know Mom has spoke on that, from a different view of like and you creating your own Mom, you know what I'm saying, religion, but then also hearing from this like from the motherland, and then hearing from the our ancestors and feeling and then hearing what the part you said about like um that we the land that we owe penance like to this land that we on, you know, and the people, the ancestors that was here during that time. So
Yes.
I was, that's what I was learning.
But I don't know if we owe something here. I think here we have to inherit what's here because our people are buried underground in unmarked
Mhm.
graves were burned. I mean, our ancestors are in some places that need to be reclaimed
Absolutely.
by us, and I think
Absolutely.
that's the penance we have to pay, if
Absolutely.
any, is
Absolutely
to
correct.
reclaim the ground that is not just fertile with our toil, but with your blood, with your,
Yes.
you know, this is where they buried the umbilical cords
Yes.
and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, come on, we have to claim this land and understand. And this is another trek I've been on. Understand that our history is continuous. It's not a series of sporadic events that the bigger picture deems worthy. There is a continuous story of crossroads and midnights and
Absolutely. And
all kind of it's like a Mission Impossible movie. If you could really span out what happened parallel to the
right.
oppression and how they pulled off this shit under some of the worst conditions ever, there would be no way people wouldn't be standing up cheering at the end because it's an amazing, amazing
I
story.
was gonna say, Mom, when you were talking, Hatshepsut was led for 20 years in the 18th dynasty. She was a very powerful pharaoh at the time, and to have, again, it's a history that was erased. It was a history that we don't know about unless you dig. And I heard about it from a woman in Minneapolis who created a whole series for young Black girls to learn about Black Queen. And so I remember hearing about her and her powerful story and how she led. And I think that's where we're at, is having something that's led, that uncovers exactly what you're saying. It's like we have to do an excavation to get to the root to give our penance or whatever it is we want to call it
Right.
for the land that has a lot of blood on it.
Well, because the story, when it's told, is told at a surface level.
Yeah.
And when you try to get deeper, that's where it gets uncomfortable. But you have to get deeper to understand it
Yes.
and to really get the meaning. Steven,
Yeah.
Steven.
as with your interesting perspective from who you are, where you grew up, everything, what is your take on this whole situation?
So a few years ago, my husband worked for Meow Wolf and their attraction here in Las Vegas called Omega Mart. And Meow Wolf is a collective of artists that have a permanent attraction in Santa Fe. And that's New Mexico is part of my growing up home. And so this group of people, when they build a new attraction, before they open it, they ask for that nation or tribe's permission and blessing, and that tribe comes to the property and performs a public ritual and gives that business their blessing. Specifically when it's a new building, specifically when it's an opening of. So Meow Wolf Omega Mart is in a bigger building, and the people who own that building did not ask. But once Omega Mart opened, they asked the Paiute tribe, the Las Vegas Paiute tribe, to bless and they do that for anywhere that they build or open a new attraction. And I think that's what, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what Rain is talking about, is that we honor the land and who we chased out,
Right.
who we killed,
Yeah.
who we murdered,
Right.
and find ways of bridging because when those people come and they do you start to understand them, and they talk and explain what they're doing, and they tell you where they live and who lived there in that specific area. And all of a sudden I felt a little connection to those people.
Right.
Soon I was like, oh, okay, well, and it's not just about feeling bad or remorseful or, ashamed of my ancestors. It's about repairing and moving forward and being in front of the boat, going forward.
Right.
It's not about constantly looking behind us and looking at all the garbage behind us. It's about clearing away for
But
us.
you have to have backward vision. Yeah,
Well,
and this is the part that they don't want. You have to be comfortable with it. Whether
Right. No, and I'm not
you have-
arguing that. I'm just saying that it's not just bad, or
no,
we have
it's
to.
not just bad. It's
No.
like I said, it's a Mission fucking Impossible movie. This is a movie ripe for when people say, "Oh, I don't want to know another slave," but you don't understand. Then you don't understand the history of your own self. These are stories that are so worth telling. But what I think, in James Baldwin, the "I Am Not Your Negro" that Samuel L. Jackson narrated, he had a line where he said, James Baldwin said he felt bad that he wasn't more active in the movement. And he had to come to grips with the fact that he was as active as he could be with what he brought to the movement. Somebody has to record this. Somebody has to put it in context. And right now, we need more voices. We need more voices to change the narrative. And I'm seeing a lot of it online. It's very encouraging that the young people are, but they have to start understanding the old people. And this is where they don't have the reverence for their elders that's required to
not at
really
all.
understand these stories. And they don't have to be smarter than you. They don't have to be in the same category or whatever. You don't even have to respect them, but listen to them because they have things to tell you that you won't know otherwise.
Right.
So we're at the point of the show where we usually say, okay, thanks, Rain. Good night. But I would value your participation in the couple of questions I have that I was going to run by my
Cool.
sons. One
Yay.
of them, we were talking about movies. We've been talking about movies, and I just saw that Ryan Coogler has a documentary about Hurricane Katrina
Mm.
that I watched, and then it was late, and so I didn't finish. But we did all look at it, and the perspective from him. What did you think of his skills?
Some of the just the stories, the actual, like the actual from the victims. Like the one story that really got to me was the guy that got they were just asking for just water as it was the officer was going by, and he shot one of the them in the back. You know what I'm saying? He was the one just trying to flag them down to, you know what I'm saying, get water for the group of individuals that was, so it was just those stories right there that was like, I won't say sugar coated from the natural news people. They wasn't letting us see a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, but just to hear how individuals in this country were being done that looked like me, you know what I'm
White
saying,
supremacy.
it was a reminder.
Did you see it, Rain?
No, I haven't seen the documentary yet.
Do you remember?
I do remember.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
it was straight up white supremacy,
Yeah,
and it
uh,
still is. I mean, that's what we're
they
seeing.
let it happen. They
Yes.
let that happen. Did you see it, Stephen?
The I had nightmares after the reports of what happened in the stadium.
Mm.
The stadium is, I don't know why it makes me cry every time I talk about it, because I can't imagine being in a state. I mean, that just sounds dystopian. It sounds unbelievable, and it sounds absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And that was the safe place to go. It's supposed to be the safe place, and
Where
people
they
are,
sent you.
yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
it's unspeakable. It
But
really is.
remember, we didn't know anything about that for days
Mm.
No.
until, was it Peter Jennings or
One of them, yeah.
it was an ABC News anchor who fought to get inside, and he finally got inside and started telling the real stories, and it was horrific. But and he was telling the truth, and I don't remember what happened, but I remember him being there and saying, "This is inhuman. This is horrible." And that was the only way we knew as much as we knew till then. And so to see this collection basically of clips and interviews from that time interspersed with newer ones is
Mind blowing.
it's painful. I mean, let's be honest, it's painful. But speaking of that, there's another film by Jordan Peele that's coming out called Him. You know that what that is, guys?
Yeah, yeah,
I do know
yes.
what it is, but I didn't quite follow what it's about. I mean, I saw I saw 3 trailers, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
It's
but
scary.
what's happening? I mean, I see all the horror parts and stuff, but I haven't been able to connect exactly what's
Well,
happening.
you gotta go see the movie.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's seeming to
But
me like
what's the premise?
it's seeming like the premise is that the quarterback he's going to Marlon characters. Marlon character is like a OG football player that's accepted him to come, and he's going to personally train him one on
Uh-huh.
one. You know what I'm saying? To
Yeah.
be the best quarterback he could be. But then it seems like the horror part comes in with the mental games of like what is he willing to give
Give
up
up.
or to do, to, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be this great quarterback, to be
Ain't that where we
the
at?
icon.
Ain't that where we at?
Yeah, because Jordan Peele doesn't really have demons in his movies. He has horror movies, but the demon is
Humans.
you.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, it's just life. I was
One
struck.
alien.
Huh?
One alien.
Except one
Yes,
alien.
Yeah, well, but I mean, it mainly is just choices.
Right.
It's just being aware of and then you can also sometimes say it's white supremacy is the demon that's driving all of the negative
see, but
choices.
that comes out of greed, right? So it's
Six of one, half dozen others.
shiny things.
Yeah, that's what white supremacy is.
Yeah,
It's a quest for greed
yeah,
and dominance. With the excuse that the God that they made up said it was okay.
right,
That's what it
Oh,
is.
not okay. Destiny.
right.
Yeah,
Destiny,
your
right,
duty. It's there. You have dominion, my son.
You know, I've never shared this story, but you know, I grew up my summers in Amarillo, Texas, and Canyon, Texas, and what is known as the Panhandle of Texas. And you know, I didn't hear a lot of racist comments from living in El Paso, Texas, on the border of Ciudad Juarez. I didn't hear a lot.
right.
I mean, it was there, but I didn't hear it very much. But when I would go to my grandma's house or my uncle and aunt's house in the Panhandle, you know, I heard it a lot. And, you know, I remember sunbathing out with the neighbors on the driveway next door to my grandmother's house. And they were talking, you know, it was girls, teenage girls talking about, I was like 9, 10, talking about dating boys. And somebody said, would you date a black man? And some girl said, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't have a problem with that or something like that. And then a bunch of the girls were like, that's against the Bible because the Bible says this and the Bible says that. And then they said, well, you better not date, you better not go out with a wetback. And, you know, all of that kind of talk. And I remember, you know, I remember just going, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. I didn't really, you know, I was a kid, I was a boy. So it went in one ear, out the other, kind of, you know, but people talked like that everywhere.
Right.
And all the time. And when people of color walked by, we shut our mouths, you know, and we be quiet for obvious reasons. And it's, you know, it's going to take a long time to.
But see, we know that. What you described, we would like, yeah. I mean, we know
well,
that.
I know you know it, but you know, I think sometimes we need to talk about it. We need
That's
to
what
say,
I'm saying. What the civil rights movement did was show people themselves. Basically, they held the mirror up. Well, I don't have anything against the Negroes if they want to live in the neighborhood. That's all right. Oh, really? We're gonna get dressed up and go for a walk
Right.
and see what happens.
yeah,
And they showed people themselves, and they had to make different assessments and choices.
Yeah.
Those people that you're talking about do not see themselves as racist and evil. They think they are good Christian people who believe in
Doing it
God and
now, and
America.
they feel that way.
Huh?
They top leader is a pedophile or the whatsoever. They said they want
I'd rather
to.
him over a black woman, right?
Yeah. So,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, yeah, we know these things, but we have to be diligent
Gotta just
in
calling it out.
in amplifying those voices and saying these things, no matter when they're right, whether they're your perfect ally or not.
Yes.
The things they say that are right need to be said, and we all need to elevate and not sink to the level that the people who want to win, they want you down in the gutter with them.
Yes, they
And
do.
Let's get down there with them motherfuckers. Oh, excuse me.
then you one of them motherfuckers.
We gotta
Don't
keep
be
your
one
head
of
up,
them
brother.
motherfuckers. Be one of
My
us.
brothers.
you know,
Anyway,
a common human condition is not wanting to be told how to be, you know? And that's where I think what Rain is saying is really true, is that, you know, you have to be an example. You just have to keep being the example. And when they, you know, do the things that they do to people of color and gay people and trans people, especially right now,
Yes.
when they do those things, we have to figure out a way. And I think social media is a brilliant way to fight back in a way that does not become the monster to bring down the monster. Like we can't become that monster.
But I think people understand if you tell them. I think people are
Oh
waiting for
yes,
somebody to tell them it's okay to feel.
yes,
Some people are angry and they're lashing out, and other people are feeling, like you said, different. They're feeling something. This don't feel right. And so
right.
they want those feelings validated. And instead of people encouraging that, that seems wimpy. It's been described as weak. And
And
instead of
woke,
somebody explaining
Right.
that is where your strength is, that you have a soul, that you have a heart, that you have a vision
right,
for an America that is different than this lunatic thing that it doesn't make sense when you look at it. So let's look at it. And we have to be that voice. We have
Yes.
to all encourage people, especially when they're brave enough to put themselves out. It takes a lot of courage to deconstruct publicly, to
Yes, it is.
question these things that become institutionalized and foundational. It takes a lot of self-confidence, and we have to validate that, or they'll start whispering, and then their voices will get quieter. So if we let them know it's okay to appeal to your higher self and to everybody else's, and keep doing that. And that's how you're going to be a winner. And applaud the people who do.
Yes.
We don't have a chance in
but
this.
we also have to give those same people the clearing to say stupid things, because they're going to, and they do. People who don't know better sometimes say stupid things. And one of the things that white people say a lot that everybody else rolls their eyes at, but I understand where they are,
Just
is
spill
what is one of my best friends is black. It's like, no, I'm not racist. One of my best friends is black. And they don't understand why
No
you
one wants
laugh
to
at
look at the
that.
bias, right? Because no
Yeah.
one wants to see a bias. We all have it. That's what's so funny. We all have a bias, We all have our thing about what we look at everybody and have a judgment. Everybody does it.
Yes.
But they don't see that, okay, some of your best friends should be black. What is it? It's not a prize. It's
Right.
not the flex you think it is. And the fact that you
Well,
do
my
is a problem. So let's talk about this.
Yes.
Is
But
where
they need the permission not to be, they need not to be shamed,
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and made
look,
fun of for it.
if you look at history in and of itself, and and any of the programs, National Geographic or anything, we look back in time, some of the things we said about our ancestors were like, they did that, they thought that, what? How crazy. It's gonna happen. And then you look at what they discovered and how far advanced they were, even from us now, how they, so it's just sometimes, as you said, yes, really holding space to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fuck up. Where it's not okay is when this wrong and this fucked up hinges on my life, and starts to put the thumb down on me. That's, I think, where you go,
where it draws the line to be is when you can't say, that was stupid.
right,
Don't say that anymore.
right,
Right.
Well, I don't understand why. Well, let's talk about it. This is
Well,
why. But
right.
we can't keep letting it go because people are going to say stupid things. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But if we were thinking about them as people and not enemies or lesser than or whatever, we would just say, girl, was stupid. Don't say that.
And I want to say it's something another scientific thing. I was on the train to New York one day, in first class, sitting next to a man who is the head of counterintelligence, and we were
wow.
talking, and it was during a time, I forget what was going on, but it was something going on,
Of course.
and I asked him, "Will terrorism? Can you get rid of terrorism? How can they put an end to this?" And he said, "No." He said, "You're not going to get rid of terrorists, and you're not going to get rid of X, Y, and Z because it's an ideology." And he goes, you don't change an ideology. What you can do is individually try to change a person through conversation and showing them X, Y, and Z. But the ideology is always going to stay the ideology. And I found that really interesting. And I
Yeah,
think
well,
that's the
yeah,
basis. You're not going to get rid of all the racism and all the hate. You're going to
no.
have it. The thing is, how do we live? That's what we have to, how we going to live?
How do we shape this society differently?
Yeah.
Which is the same struggle we've been on since Black people have been here and white people have been here, and it's the same parallel struggle. I think that's very important for us to really establish that we are not in a different phase. We're just at a different point in this same journey that's been on, that we have constantly had this society doing this, and this parallel society has been moving along with it, shaping its own culture, shaping its own history, its own experience, and they both need to the yin and yang. As long as it's one or the other, you're never going to really understand the picture.
Right.
And you start thinking, as I've said before, of this as days end and morning begins. No, they just night becomes day, and it's day becomes night, and it's all the same thing. Time don't stop because it's midnight. It's
Right.
just keeps going, and we cut off our vision at a certain time, and we don't see this whole other ocean world right beneath our feet that is moving just and has its own history too. And we have to start bringing those different perspectives to the forefront, and that's your mission. Should you choose to accept it? And with that, I release you all into next week. Woo. Well, that's what happens when you visit the Marshaverse. It's kind of like, if I was Rod Serling, you know.
Oh, the baby.
uh,
Skillz is a baby.
Is that you,
uh,
a baby?
It ain't me. I mean, it's me.
yeah. Oh, you were cute.
You were
I'm
cute.
glad though that I like you this way, because it would have been funny if you had a beard. Anyway, thank you all for being here and sharing this evening with. I'm so glad we had this time together, and I'm
Yes.
glad we had this conversation. And I hope anybody who is watching that you like, share, subscribe, tell people, uh, give us some of your suggestions, your feedback. We appreciate it. We think these conversations are important, and they ain't too bad if you really just get into them and listen to what I said. Anyway, well, thank you so much. It was something I was going to say. Oh, tell us. You told me you were directing.
Yes.
What are you doing right now? You're directing right
I'm
now.
directing Susie Laurie Park's Top Dog Underdog in Baltimore, Maryland. Opens up in September with two great actors, Aaron Watkins and Jason Robinson as
Wow.
Lincoln. So
Hey.
I'm really excited about that. Yep.
And before I ask my guys where they're going to be, I just want to let you know I'm going to show a video of a young man who is going to be a ice skating Olympian with enough of our applause and feedback. He's amazing. His name is Emmanuel Savory.
Ooh, love
And
it.
his video, we can't show the whole thing, but we'll show you enough and link to it so that you can see why this man needs Team American support. Skillz, where are you going to be this weekend?
This weekend, tomorrow, I'll be at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club for my residency at 11:30. And coming up, August 22nd, I'll be celebrating my 2-year anniversary residency with 2 shows, 10 o'clock and 11:30 that night. And this Sunday and Monday, I'm with Lunel at her residency, 10 p.m.
You. All right. Stephen, aside from producing this show, what will you be doing this week?
I'll be at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, right here where we live, 8 o'clock every night this weekend. Come and see us.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Rain, thank you for staying up with us. I owe you coffee. So thank you so much. We love having you. Stay on call, okay? We might call you at any time.
Hey, Mom.
Huh?
Before we let Rain go, where are you going to be?
Where am I going to be this weekend? Right now, I am at the Comedy Cellar here in Vegas at the Rio, and we do 2 shows a night at 7 and 9:30, and be there until Monday.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you. Like I
Steve.
said, like, share, subscribe. You know, I started this as a lark. I started this as just a way to hang out late night with my friends and fans and all kind of family. But to keep it going, you know, we need your support. We need you to like it. We need you to share it. We need you to comment. We need you to subscribe. And I hate doing this is the part of the business I hate because I never, ever, ever did it for the money. I want to get paid because I got to eat. But if it was just about money, I'd probably be a hoe. So it's not just about that. It's about that I think, or I like to think that the things we do are important in a small or a large way to somebody at some time. And so if you just give us a like, we'd appreciate that. Thank you so much. And next week, and stay tuned, we got some more great guests coming. We got more great stuff to talk about and people for you to meet. And we'd love to have you and your friends stop by anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, Marshaverse.com. Thank you. Good night.
She got away, no one can do it like that. Her own style, no one can wear that hat. Hey, don't you know that the queen is back? She's back, she's back. She withstands the test of time. When it comes to strength, she comes to mind. Knock her down, she gets back up again and again. I'm talking about Marsha.